And first I asked her why she had sex with Trump. Listen to that, and then listen to what she says after that, and then we're going to talk about the trial, because it's quite a variance of what she said to me in 2018. Why did you Donald Trump?
I have no idea.
Okay, but you say it's not a Me Too case.
It is not a Me Too case. I mean, I wasn't assaulted. I wasn't attacked or raped or coerced or blackmailed. They tried to shove me in the Me Too box to further their own agenda. And first of all, I didn't want any part of that because it's not the truth, and I'm not a victim in that regard.
That's not what she's saying now. She's talking about he was bigger and blocking the way. It's all the Me Too buzzwords. She said there was a power imbalance of power, for sure. My hands were shaking so hard. She said she blacked out. Blacked out? She's a porn star. I don't think sex...
That doesn't mean she's been subjected to the likes of Donald Trump. I might black out too.
Hey y'all, thanks for stopping in. So this may be the week Alvin Bragg's case against Donald Trump falls apart. Let's read more and find out why. Even for those of us who have long been critics of the hush money case against Donald Trump and his dubious legal theory, it has been surprising to see the prosecutors had no more evidence than we previously knew about. The assumption was that no rational prosecutor would base a major criminal case almost entirely on the testimony of Michael Cohen, who was recently denounced by a judge as a serial perjurer peddling perverse theories in court. The calculus of Alvin Bragg is now obvious. He is counting on the jury convicting Trump regardless of the evidence. One of the reasons why Donald Trump wanted to get this case removed from New York. But this is why Bragg likely fears that the judge, not the jury, will decide the case. After the government closes its evidence this week, the defense will move for a direct verdict by the judge on the basis that its evidence is insufficient to sustain a conviction. Many of us agree with that assessment. After 3 weeks of testimony, there is still confusion on what crime Trump allegedly committed. Absolutely, there's confusion. We have no idea what crime Trump is actually being tried for here. But Bragg has vaguely referred to the labeling of payments to Stormy Daniels as legal expenses as a fraud committed to steal the election, because the entire 2016-2017 election hinged on whether Stormy Daniels and Donald Trump had sex? Is that what the claim is? Is that where the election is? If they truly in their hearts believe that mislabeling payments to Stormy Daniels as legal expenses are fraud committed to steal the election, what would they call the suppression of the Hunter Biden laptop in the 2020 election? What would they consider that? Now that we know that the laptops have been confirmed to be his, which everybody knew they were his before the last election in 2020. But now that we know that the laptops were Hunter's, now that we know that Ashley Biden's diary is confirmed her diary, I'm curious how Alvin Bragg would classify that from the Biden's perspective, right? I don't know. You just got to ask, right? I mean, legal expenses. I mean, literally, he's trying to claim, and he wants a jury to throw Donald Trump in jail and prevent him from being able to run in this 2024 election. So if you're going to bring charges to Trump and indict him on, 30 whatever cases, because you're going to give him an indictment per every payment that he made to Michael Cohen, just so that you can add up the indictments, just so that you can give Democrats this stupid false facade that 91 indictments, they don't just give people indictments without evidence. Basically, playing sheep games to the sheep, which works, right? I've heard it said, they don't just give 91 indictments for no reason. There's got to be some type of crime there. They have evidence. Well, Bragg has like 20 or 30 of these indictments. Each of those individual indictments simply represent a monthly payment that went from Trump to his lawyer. They're just trying to make the numbers look big, right? And it's the same thing that's gone on since Trump's inauguration day, when they announced that he was going to be impeached the day that he was inaugurated in 2017 after he won the 2016 election. But let's just continue. And here's another thing that's funny is the election was over when those denotations were made. Moreover, many believe that such a characterization for payments related to a non-disclosure agreement is accurate. Hillary Clinton's campaign claimed in the same election that hiding the funding for the Steele dossier as legal expenses was perfectly accurate, which the Steele dossier was paid for by the Clinton Foundation. That ended up costing Americans over 2 years in investigations and over $50 million in taxpayer funds to investigate Russian collusion when many Americans knew that it was a fake witch hunt from the very beginning, which cleared Trump from any election interference, any Russian collusion. But that investigation was led by somebody that was very anti-Donald Trump. Joe Biden would never do would be to appoint somebody that is very anti-Joe Biden to investigate any of the things that Joe Biden needs to be investigated for, unlike what Trump did. Trump was trying to be very fair and partial, and he went ahead and let somebody that hated him head up the investigation into Donald Trump, thinking and hoping that in good faith, when his name was cleared, Democrats would then support Donald Trump, see his innocence. But no, it just turned into the next thing and the next thing and the next thing. And here we are in 2024, literally 8 years later, and they're still trying to throw crap against the wall and see what sticks. Nothing has stuck yet. I don't know why they're still trying. Well, I do know why they're still trying. Is because they're sore losers and they know they don't have a chance at beating Trump in a fair game. If he wants to show he is truly neutral, Merchan should grant the motion for a directed verdict. To prevent that, Bragg has to show that someone claimed to have evidence directly tying Trump to an intentional fraudulent scheme to conceal a crime. Thus far, Bragg hasn't come close. Indeed, many of his witnesses have helped Trump more than they have hurt him. Bragg started with the testimony of David Pecker, former publisher of the National Enquirer tabloid, on an uncharged transaction to kill a story of a Trump affair with a different woman, Karen Mcdougal, a former Playboy model, who I believe now isn't even going to take the witness stand. But the relevancy was marginal, but the testimony backfired in that Pecker admitted that Trump told him that he knew nothing about any reimbursement to Cohen for any hush money. Daniel's own counsel contradicted the prosecution's reference to the payment as hush money. So it appears that Stormy Daniels and her counsel don't even necessarily agree with the prosecution that Alvin Bragg is bringing. Prosecutors now turn to a witness, Michael Cohen, with a record of saying whatever serves his interests and those of his sponsors. It is not enough to say that Trump wanted to hush up the alleged affair. That is no crime, and NDAs are common and legal. Cohen has to say Trump specifically knew and approved of characterization of the payments as legal expenses. He further has to establish that Trump intended the denotation to conceal the payment for the purpose of election violations or fraud. Given the blind rage of many New Yorkers at Trump, the testimony of a convicted, disbarred serial perjurer may be enough. The question then is whether the judge will let it get that far. And up to this point, it certainly seems that this judge would allow it to get that far, but only time will tell. I'm going to go ahead and wrap this one up. Hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, please hit that like button and subscribe to this channel, and I will see you guys in the next one.